I just want to start. I know it's a lot of questions about the reports and the things that came out yesterday. I just want everybody to know, I'm the victim in the situation, and the truth and the details about the situation will come out at a further time. And any further questions, y'all can ask my agent, my attorney, and that'll be all.
Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook spoke with the media yesterday.
Media about allegations by a former girlfriend. The complaint filed by Gracelyn Trimble, a sergeant in the U.S. Army, accuses Cook of assault, battery, and false imprisonment.
The issue is, with Cook, it's a really important case of an alleged domestic violence dispute.
There will not be a change to Dalvin Cook's status at this point in time because it's a civic complaint. And because it's a civic complaint, therefore, he doesn't qualify for the commissioner's exempt list.
An ESPN insider, Adam Schefter. See, Schefter is in the business of getting scoops. It's how he makes his bread. Let's go back for a moment to the Washington football team scandal, shall we? In leaked emails, not only did we learn of John Gruden's racism, misogyny, homophobia, and hatred of kneeling black players on the football field, we also learned of Adam Schefter communicating with Bruce Allen, then president of the Washington football team. He sent the draft of an unpublished story to Allen for approval. Quote, "Please let me know if you see anything that should be changed, tweaked," Schefter wrote. "Thanks, Mr. Editor, for that and the trust. Plan to file this to ESPN about 6 a.m., Schefter wrote. Pointer said he crossed the line. There's no other way to put this. To share an unpublished story with a source before it runs and to solicit suggestions on that story is way over the line journalistically. It cannot happen. In this case, Allen was the executive vice president, GM of an NFL team that was in a collective bargaining dispute with the players. In this case, that accuracy and fairness is being filtered through a source and someone who has a stake in the story." He appeared on 97.5 The Fan in Philadelphia to try and quell the situation. ESPN put out a statement with Schefter that read, "Fair questions are being asked about my reporting approach on an NFL lockout story from 10 years ago. Just to clarify, it's common practice to verify facts of a story with sources before you publish in order to be as accurate as possible. In this case, I took the rare step of sending the full story in advance because of the complex nature of the collective bargaining talks. It was a step too far, and looking back, I shouldn't have done it. The criticism being levied is fair. With that said, I want to make this perfectly clear. In no way did I, or would I, cede editorial control or hand over final say about a story to anyone ever. Asking a source to clarify something is, of course, not only okay, but good journalism. That should be, and can be, done without showing the source what you wrote. But a reporter should never share the entire story and should never invite the source to offer something be added, changed, or tweaked. As Schefter put it. Jameel Hill tweeted, "I've been a journalist for over 20 years now. I've never let a source proofread, preview, or edit any story. Majority of journalists I know have never done this either. That is a huge journalistic no-no. Young journalists, that is not how it's done ever." Which brings us back to Vikings running back Dalvin Cook. CNN reports a former girlfriend of Cook has accused him of assault, battery, and false imprisonment related to an altercation that allegedly occurred at his Minnesota home nearly a year ago, to which Cook claimed on Wednesday he was the one who was assaulted. In an 18-page lawsuit filed late Tuesday in Dakota County, Minnesota District Court, Gracelyn Trimble, an Army sergeant, accused Cook of one count each of battery, assault, and false imprisonment. She is seeking at least $50,000 in damages. Trimble and her lawyer, Daniel Craig, filed suit after attempting to reach a settlement with Cook. No criminal report was filed. According to the lawsuit, Cook and Trimble met on a Florida beach in 2018 and began an off and on, sometimes rocky relationship. Trimble flew to Minnesota on November 19th to break up with Cook and get her things from his Inver Grove Heights home. She entered through the garage, grabbing mace she stored there on her way in, the lawsuit states. Trimble claims in the filing that Cook got angry when she asked for his help in gathering her things. Cook grabbed her arm and swung her whole body over the couch, slamming her face into the coffee table and causing her lower forehead and the bridge of her nose to bust open. She attempted to spray the mace at Cook, but he overpowered her, and the mace went into her eyes, the lawsuit said. She went to shower when she was allegedly assaulted again. Then Trimble went into the bedroom, grabbed Cook's gun, and called a friend, according to the suit. Cook overheard her and threatened her and beat her with a broomstick. the suit claims. The next morning, when Cook took her to the airport, Trimble covered her injuries with a hooded sweatshirt, sunglasses, and a face mask. On November 25th in Florida, when she sought treatment for her injuries, she told medical personnel she had been in an ATV accident. She learned she had a concussion along with several deep cuts and bruising, the lawsuit said. Neither Trimble nor Cook called police or filed a report about the night in dispute. The lawsuit includes text messages purportedly from Cook to Trimble saying, "I know what I did can't be rewound. If you want to go to the police, I'll respect that. I'll take my punishment for what I did." The picture of the exchange was obtained by TMZ Sports and is included on their site. While Mr. Cook was trying to alleviate the burning of his eyes from the mace, Sergeant Trimble sprayed a second round of mace in his face and then proceeded to arm herself with a firearm, Cook's attorney said. Sergeant Trimble forced Mr. Cook and his guests at gunpoint to remain in his residence for the next several hours. Valentini, Cook's attorney, said his client had the right to defend himself under Minnesota's Castle Doctrine, which allows homeowners to defend themselves against intruders. This right to self-defense includes the use of deadly force based on the nature of the perceived threat, his attorney wrote, claiming Cook was the victim, and said shortly after the two began dating, she became emotionally abusive, physically aggressive, and confrontational, and repeatedly attempted to provoke him. Cook accused Trimble of damaging his car, assaulting him, and attempting to stop him from seeing other women throughout their relationship. Trimble showed up at Dalvin's house, illegally entered, punched him in the face, maced him, armed herself with a gun, and held him and his two house guests hostage, claimed Cook's agent. The point of sharing these grotesque details is this reason. It's murky, as you can tell. And that's where ESPN's Adam Schefter jumps back into the fray. Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook is the victim of domestic abuse and extortion. There's pending litigation, according to his agent, Zach Hiller. That was Schefter's tweet to his nearly 9 million Twitter followers. It's flat out wrong to do this. As SI's Jimmy Tranter wrote, why Schefter would let himself be used as a pawn in this story is mind-boggling. The framing and wording of Schefter's tweet is downright strange, and it's completely obvious that it's meant to court public sympathy for Cook before the entire story becomes public. Whether he intended it or not, Schefter comes across as doing the agent's dirty work with that tweet. Trimble's attorney Daniel Craig went after Schefter for his reporting and referred to it as journalistic malpractice. Quote, ESPN's journalistic malpractice yesterday sends a painfully clear message to billions of girls and women around the world that they should be afraid to come forward because media companies like ESPN are more interested in protecting the powerful celebrities that make the money rather than engaging in honest reporting and competent journalism, Craig said in a statement to USA Today.
I just want to add here that in a case like this, it's important to reach out to all sides for information and comment. When I got the information the other night, I didn't do that. And I could have done a better job reaching out to the other people, especially on a story as sensitive and as significant as this. Didn't do that properly. And it's a reminder to slow down in this world.
Schefter acknowledged the shortcomings of his reporting during an appearance on SportsCenter. This isn't a story about a trade or a coach being fired. This is a story about domestic violence. Cook is innocent until proven guilty, but there is an obligation to present both sides of the case. You can't just throw out that Cook is a victim because Cook's agent says so and not present the other side. So now we have two tweets where Cook's agent is using Schefter's Twitter account to release statements that present one side of the story. Schefter then tweeted a statement from the Vikings, a statement from the NFL, and a statement from Cook's attorney, but there was still nothing about Graceland Trimble's side of the case. Trimble filed a lawsuit Tuesday accusing Cook of assault, battery, and false imprisonment. Then at 9:52 p.m., Schefter tweeted a link to an AP story detailing both sides of the allegations. He did not send any tweets with the pictures of Trimble after their altercation. He did not send any tweets with the DM exchange between Cook and Trimble after their altercation. Again, nobody knows what happened in this case yet, but Schefter was clearly comfortable telling his followers that Cook is a victim according to his agent, but remained silent about Trimble's version of the events. Sports journalist Robert Klemko, formerly of Sports Illustrated's MMQB, broke it down like this. Dalvin Cook's agent wanted to get in front of a lawsuit filed last night in Minnesota alleging Cook assaulted a former girlfriend, among other accusations. So Hiller went to the person he knew would do absolutely zero digging if presented a scoop Adam Schefter. Adam is not stupid. He probably asked why Hiller wanted this claim out there, and Hiller probably told him there were accusations coming down the pipe. Schefter went ahead with a fraction of the full story. Why? Because either Dalvin Cook is telling the truth, or Cook and Hiller wanted this story muddied, and they wanted all the usual suspects to line up and run with their version of events. Schefter's happy to do it because Hiller has fed him every big Dalvin Cook scoop since the man has been in the league. Last night it came time to pay the piper. ESPN, a media organization roughly 500,000 times the size of the Star Tribune, with more investigative resources than most police departments, had to cite the Star Tribune in their updated story. How is ESPN okay with this? Because Schefter is not paid to be a journalist. He's beholden to journalistic standards, though half the outlets covering the NFL take his word as gospel. Professionally, he's meeting their expectations. Morally, though, he's setting a very low bar. There's no real good way to spin this coverage. Schefter either consciously carried the water for Cook here, trying to turn public opinion against a domestic violence accuser to curry a favor, or he didn't even consider what he was doing and simply rubber-stamped whatever was sent to him. It was a case of carrying water for a source in order to preserve his max network of those who will let him know about transactions and contracts 5 minutes before they're announced, and ideally before any other insiders get the text message. Hiller wanted Schefter to blast the notion that Cook is the victim to Schefter's massive Twitter following. Schefter did it in consideration for past scoops and in anticipation of future ones. That's how it works for some in this industry. There's no law against it, and there's no law against those who understand what's happening to call it out. So no, let's not confuse it. Schefter's ambition to beat the rest of the insiders didn't lead to Tuesday night's outcome. It was his desire to preserve the ability to beat the rest of the insiders in the future that prompted him to hold his nose and do Hiller's bidding.